Talking Philosophy in Images is the name of my podcast. Today, I'll talk about friendship. What is it made of? Reciprocity, resistance, mystery, responsibility. I am Dr. Idit Afandari. Thank you for joining me for the first episode. Who would believe it, but the connection between philosophy and life is a story. I want to tell you a suspenseful story about how the philosophical idea of friendship evolves. We begin with reciprocity, address resistance and mystery, and arrive at responsibility. I'll also share some personal moments to show how philosophy isn't separate from life, but patterns it. In the Enlightenment period, a person learned to know themselves and wanted others to know them too. Take Rousseau, for example. In his autobiography, he writes that on Judgment Day, he will place his book before God so God can judge him after hearing his honest account. Rousseau admits his faults, that he exploited others, made mistakes, caused harm, and was ashamed. Still, he refuses to hide because enlightenment means honestly knowing one's self, even if it is disarming oneself before others, by revealing who you really are. I lost 2 friendships that I valued and sought to keep forever. Why did I miss the signs that these connections are dissolving? Was I romanticizing rather than being attentive to changes in the friendship? Or were my friends acting outside the bounds of what I recognize as friendly? Rousseau, the Romantic, isn't very far from Kant. Kant claims that an enlightened person is a mature human being capable of self-critique, aware that their thinking and actions are influenced by interests, yet remains committed to moral duty. The actions of a mature human beings show they understand universal moral obligations. For both Rousseau and Kant, friendship is a space where I make myself known to another person, speaking and acting with sincerity, goodwill, and moral judgment. In Jacques the Fatalist, Diderot uses a similar method, yet it is also deeply different. Jacques intuitively senses that life doesn't always make sense. If there is order behind human thought and action, it is thanks to the heavens above, where our destiny down here is written and sealed. Diderot isn't preaching religion, he's ironic. For him, our moral judgment is flawed. People act out of interest. Feelings distort our judgments. The enlightened philosopher, according to Diderot, understands that we cannot fully know ourselves, not entirely for good and not entirely for bad. If we cannot fully know ourselves, how can we completely reveal ourselves to others? The best we can do is occasionally step back, observe from an emotional, cultural, or ethical distance and examine what moral responsibility truly is. Interests and strong emotions interfered with my expired friendships. I thought that these factors would change the quality of our connections, not destroy these relationships. Rousseau, Kant, and Diderot all assume that friendship depends on reciprocity because people have interests. A mature friend is someone who can examine their motivations and restrain the influence of selfishness. According to Rousseau and Kant, friendship rests on moral behavior that any rational adult can understand. According to Diderot, however, emotion weaves a darker thread through friendship, sometimes leading to exploitation, disappointment, and distance. Let me step back further to Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. Friendship, philia, is grounded in the belief that humans have received a gift from nature, the ability to make themselves known to one another. A family member can be a friend. Someone you trade with can be a friend, though when the exchange ends, the friendship may end as well. A charming and pleasurable person can be a friend, but when pleasure fades, so does the friendship. There is also friendship without interest, chosen out of pure goodwill, where a friend's needs matter without expecting anything in return. True, pure friendship teaches us that people grow and expand when they have many friends, including those built on reciprocity. But the purest friendship doesn't demand it. I want to use Leonardo da Vinci's painting of the Virgin Child and Saint Anne as a visual image of reciprocity. Each generation rests safely in the embrace of the one before it. There is warmth, protection, and goodwill. We can also look at the same image from Freud's writings on Leonardo's childhood memory. The contours of the vulture that rest in the family's lap recall Leonardo's sexuality. We notice that desire and unconscious forces implicate the Holy Trinity in profane familial relationships. Christ was born through the Immaculate Conception, but in this painting, the three bodies are sexually present. A conflict emerges between divine benevolence and earthly desire, between eternity and mortality. Mystery, sexuality, holiness, and vulnerability all coexist. This complexity does not avoid friendship, but lives inside it. Marcel Duchamp turns the Mona Lisa into an androgynous being, and her smile either appears beatific or in the throes of pleasure. Today, we choose friends personally, maybe even by chance. Daily interaction shapes what is allowed, what feels like too much, and where emotional lines are drawn. I keep asking myself, why did I lose those friendships of mine? Maybe the ideal of reciprocity no longer fits. Maybe my confession became exhausting. Or maybe they felt that I was too dependent. These friendships were marked by skepticism, defensiveness, and a desire to remain hidden. Descartes could understand a friendship driven by a malign genie. According to Aristotle and Kant, the genie is a demon, and deception is its forte. A demonic friendship is haunted by a shadow, and a strange resistance looms beside the longing for closeness. The individual might be fabricating a shock element to make themselves seem desirable. Yet what is so moral about the alienation and bewilderment that characterize a person who does not reply to a direct question and who acts with confidence in the protected worlds of shopping, light entertainment, pub crawling, gossip, and using hypersexualized language? I used Dali's painting to show that the shock effect is endemic to a conforming popular culture. Shirley Temple, a young Hollywood actress, is equal to the mythological Sphinx. The riddle of the Sphinx exemplifies the mystery of man. Shirley Temple is not mysterious in the painting. Her sexuality is not enigmatic, and the viewer does not mature when they understand a superficial picture of the vulgar pleasures that eliminate mystery. In the 20th century, especially after World War II, the philosophical understanding of friendship changed dramatically. The 1960s were difficult years in Europe and America when students rebelled against conventional moral obligations to family and society. If humans are moral beings, how do we explain concentration camps? If societies learned moral lessons, why do wars continue? Post-structuralist philosophers argued that friendship is not simple at all. In friendship, we encounter just how radically different we are from one another. Friendship does not have to be reciprocal. True friendship allows the other to remain different, mysterious, and not fully understood. It permits resistance to the ego's demands. Nietzsche wrote that the challenge of friendship is allowing difference to exist. After the war, philosophers like Maurice Blanchot and Emmanuel Levinas took this further. Real friendship involves accepting that I will never fully understand how different my friend truly is. So how can alienation become the basis of friendship? Through responsibility. I must become responsible for allowing the other person to remain who they are. Not to please me, not to mirror me, not to return reciprocity as payment, but simply to live freely. We have the right to be different and the responsibility to protect the difference. This still hasn't answered my personal question. Why did I lose two friendships I cherished? I need space and time to think, to write, and feel myself. I am not jealous of my friends' time or their life choices. For me, difference and mystery enrich friendship. Yet, in one friendship, I was told I was too rational and grounded with no room left for spirituality or mystery. In the other, I was told I drifted like a lonely atom in space, unacceptable to normal people. In either case was my difference accepted. How did I reach two dead ends? I found an answer in Derrida. I met him several times at social functions, and I was often a student in his seminars. He interprets a story by Baudelaire. Two friends walk through the city together. They buy tobacco and decide to give their spare change to a mute beggar. One gives a small coin. The other throws a substantially larger coin. The narrator thinks that his friend creates a unique shock effect by giving more to the beggar and by surpassing his own generosity. The friend pleases himself. The narrator commends his friend's actions, which open new possibilities for the friendship. Casually, the friend admits it is counterfeit. The shock creates a storm of emotions, possibilities, and questions. Who am I now? The narrator asks. What just happened? What does this mean? The counterfeit coin might help the beggar if it isn't discovered, or harm him greatly if it is. Yet beyond money, the gift creates an event, a powerful, mysterious opening of possibilities. The narrator realizes his friend has introduced something creatively disruptive, but in the end, he cannot forgive him. Not because of the shock, but because the friend did not understand the depth of what he had done. He did not respect the narrator, did not understand the beggar's life predicament, and did not use his natural faculty that judges on the basis of moral imperatives. He didn't understand responsibility. Friendship does not have to be reciprocal. Friends are allowed to remain strangers to one another. However, there is no friendship if someone refuses to take responsibility for that strangeness. Only stupidity. Responsibility allows gratitude, and gratitude makes it possible to live with the mystery between us. Stupidity played a central role in one of my lost relationships, but not in the other. In both cases, the word responsibility terrified my friends. With even a little responsibility, we might still be in contact today. The philosophy that connects difference with responsibility provides a deeply practical answer to the question of friendship. Our humanity flows through thought, body, feeling, and imagination in mysterious ways. We also long for unexpected experiences, not just rules. Few supposedly mature people dare to live this truth. I want to end with the photographs of Claude Cahun, self-portraits filled with a fragile, powerful difference. These images reveal just how hard it is to express otherness and how desperately mystery needs protection. We can stay with the pictures and ask what their mystery is. How can the spectator be a friend and responsibly see the strangeness of the figures, the change in the images? Can we be responsible for the foreignness of a photographer who chooses to represent herself in such varied self-portraits?